The country is no stranger to disasters, be it volcanic eruptions, severe weather earthquakes, or landslides. And alongside the government is a private sector stepping up to help. We now speak with Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation's Chief Resilience Officer, Bill Luz. Bill, great to have you with us. It's been a while.
Thank you, Rico. It's good to see you again.
All right, we're on the ring of fire.
Yes.
So many things have been happening over the past year, and now we are beset by this potential volcanic eruption of Mayon volcano. We have been having earthquakes across the archipelago, typhoons. What can the National Disaster Resilience Foundation do for us?
Well, we've organized the private sector like in a very large network or consortium. So we can work together, coordinating with the national government and with local governments on how to not only respond, so provide relief or recovery, but more importantly, we spend a lot of our time on disaster prevention and preparedness and mitigation. As they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So roughly for every, let's say peso of investment in preparedness, you save roughly 7 pesos in relief and recovery. So
you have an emergency operations center in Clark, Pampanga. You were just there this morning and just came back for this interview. How has it helped in advance warning for storms and volcanic eruptions and earthquakes?
This command center, we've put a lot of technology into it. We can track through our mapping system what the weather is like in any part of the country or any part of the region, actually, because it's a global tracking system. We've know where the fault lines are. We can track volcanic eruptions. We can track pandemics. So all these hazards, including flood maps and potential liquefaction or ground shaking through the earthquakes, these are all mapped throughout the country. And then we can overlay those maps with infrastructure or with population or with hospital locations or school locations or airport locations. So we know which areas are going to be affected, and so we can prepare better and try to prevent, crises, actually. You can't prevent the disaster, but you can prevent the crisis.
That's right. With all of, there have been several earthquakes that have been happening around the country. How prepared are we for the big one?
Well, every quarter, there's a drill, actually, for the big one, and then there's a national drill once a year. The government and the private sector work together on those drills, those physical exercises. On the part of PDRF, we have started investing in earthquake sensors, so advanced warning, and FIVOLS, of course, has its own sensors. We'd like to be able to integrate eventually. Our goal is to get advance warning. Now, for typhoons, you get advance warning by several days. In the case of earthquakes, we would like to get advance warning measured in seconds. But, every 5, 10, 15 seconds in advance of an earthquake, that's important. It gives you enough time to run out of a room, run out of a low building, duck, cover, and hold, get to a safe spot. So every second counts, and we'd like to invest in that.
Absolutely. But how advanced right now, Bill, is the technology of the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation in Clark, Pampanga?
Well, our mapping system, we have very good forecasting for...
Is it at par with the best in the world?
Yes, because we're tracking data from all over the world. So we were able to get not only from Pagasa, which is our own weather service, but we track, about maybe half a dozen other weather services around the world. There are many earthquake sensors and volcanic sensors by FIVOLS and by other, USGS and other services. So we've got a really young staff who specialize in just analyzing this data for us and giving the forecast. So we like to think we're as prepared as we can be, but we continuously always try to improve on preparedness.
In terms of preparedness, how does this operation center reduce the risk going forward for our kababayans, and comparing that to past events?
Well, if you take a look at, say, Super Typhoon Yolanda, 2013, 10 years ago, we had some knowledge of the storm, but not enough maybe of a warning system and a communication system to let everybody know the gravity and the severity of the storm. Today, we have the technology to be able to forecast better and to communicate. So in our case at PDRF and at Clark, we send out advisories via email or via text or WhatsApp, that we can send to companies to be able to prepare. And when we say prepare, that means not only prepare their facility against, to face the brunt of a storm, their raw materials, their people, their employee families, but they're also prepared to respond more quickly to be able to help the community. And that's important because once they take the hit, the definition of resilience is when you've been hit, you can recover back to at least what you originally were at, or even better.
All right, you came back from the Operations Center, and of course, you're also tracking the developments in Mayon volcano. What does the data say? Are we eventually going to have a major eruption of Mayon?
Well, at alert level 3, it's a matter of weeks away. But it could subside, right? I mean, it could escalate into a alert level 4 or 5, and 5 would be imminent eruption. It could happen literally at any time. But you can see that people are being evacuated out of the 7-kilometer zone. Later on, there's going to be a 14-kilometer zone. It's the same with Taal. Evacuation areas have been set up. Goods have been prepositioned. People are being fed in these locations. And the key is to be able to get to people and persuade them to leave danger zones. But that's happening, and local governments are becoming far more effective at doing this.
And briefly, it is the National Disaster Resilience Month. What do you hope to achieve in the month of July?
Well, it's just a way of reminding everybody that we should always be aware and be prepared. And July, I guess, because that's the onset of the rainy season, the typhoon season, so that's a good time to kind of mark this concept of preparedness. But the fact is, today we need to be prepared all year round. We get typhoons, we get storms, we get earthquakes at any time. And the key here is to be able to learn and to make it a habit to be prepared at all times.
Bill Luz from the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, thank you so much for joining us in The Final Word.
Yep. Thank you, Rico.